Welcome everyone to Evony Throne Time with Viri. Today's subject is going to cover the basics on subordinate cities and how they can help or hurt you and what they actually do. I'm going to jump right into it and try to make this a short segment for you all. For those of you that don't know what subordinate cities are, you're going to click this 3-dot circle on the right-hand side of your screen and click subordinate cities. And you're going to go and hit preview. Preview is going to give all the types of subcities available and their cultures. When you look at each of their buildings and their buffs, you'll see here they can offer 4 buffs for each culture. And they all are fairly different, and how you choose them is going to be up to your gameplay. Me, I'm more of a PvP fighter, and I prefer to have subcities that give me buffs to help me fight and decrease the enemy's army, whether it be in a negative buff or a positive buff. Doesn't matter to me. I get selective when adding these into my army's march, or at least linking them. But again, it just depends on your game style and what you like to do. If you like to collect resources and build or help your alliance out with resources, then you'll want to choose one of these subcities that offers the resource to give to your city. A quick overview on a couple of them. Europe, architecture, that's going to give you some construction speed buffs, 15% for your main city. So when you're in your main city and you have this sub-city, and you're going through a construction phase of building another building, whatever it may be, it's going to add 15% to the speed of that construction, along with any other buffs that you have working in your city for that speed. Hunting, general experience for monster kills. Your general gets experience every time he goes on a hunt with either your friends or by yourself, or you're leading a rally. It's going to add 10% to that. What does that equate to? It equates to more general experience, higher power for him, depending on how you use it. Subordinate city training. Each subordinate city will have troops. You'll gain troops over time, and we'll show you that in just a few minutes. So it's going to add a 20% speed increase to building your subcity up in the training speed of the troops. And then war tactics, death into survival rate in this subordinate city. So all your troops, let's say you have 10,000 troops in this subordinate city, you get attacked or you attack somebody and it's linked to your main city, you're going to lose some troops. Some of them will die, some of them will just go to the hospital to get healed. What this last one, war tactics, is doing is anyone that dies, they're going to take 10%. So if you had 2,000 of them die, you're going to have 10% of that 2,000, which is 200 troops, automatically go into the hospital and not be dead. So you don't have to go in and revive those troops later. We'll look to the next one here, Japan. So Japan is more of a fighting sub that you can have linked again to your main city. And you see the first buff on here, main city attacking troop attack. Is going to add 10% to your buff of the attack that you're utilizing. Very important to know what these subs do for you, so you're linking the right ones to your march attack or your main city for a defensive posture, to include those buffs. Workshop, it's going to improve some research material production, sport and city training, and the war tactics. So you have a few in here that you can choose. Russia is another wartime subcity. In-city troop attack, that's 10%. That's more of a defensive subcity. So if someone's attacking you, you're going to get a 10% buff on top of all the other buffs that you may have with your defense in the city. All right, let's go out here and let's specifically go into one. It doesn't matter. We'll just choose Russia. So as you look in here, you're going to see 3 tabs at the top: administration, buildings, and troops. Administration, you're going to want to assign in the middle of your screen there a mayor. it's important that you use a mayor in your subcity because it's going to give you either buffs or debuffs, depending on the type of general that you use. In this case, I don't remember who I have here. Okay, Canute. So in this case, I have Canute. And let's just scroll down to Canute. Any one of them will work. And let's see, he's down the list here. Okay, here's a Canute. So I'm going to click into him. And I've added gear to him. I typically don't have gear. I'm kind of in that weird stage right now to where I've got a lot of things upgraded. And now I'm moving on to getting these subcities or generals upgraded with some gear and skill books. Well, skill books have always been there, but just trying to get these guys a little bit more powerful too, so they can help the cause when I'm in PvP. So Canute, he's a good one to have. If you click on the yellow skill book, that it's a skill book that automatically comes with Canute. It's on the left-hand side towards the bottom. Click on that. You can see here he has a reduction buff. It reduces enemy ranged troops attack by 25% and enemy ground troops and mounted troops by HP by 15% when he's leading the army. Okay? So it's important to put, in my opinion, a debuff general in your subcities, and then those subcities that have the debuff general, you want to make sure they're linked to a march that you have going out or linked to your main city, so you get all of these debuffs that these generals can provide with the subcity. It's only going to help you win or not lose as much during battle when you have a general of this fashion with a debuff. Very, very, very important. So that's my recommendation. It's not maybe the right way to do it every time, or the wrong way. But for me personally, that's what I prefer to have. And I think I have 3 or 4 Canutes, and so I have those all aligned with specific subcities. Okay, so I'm going to go back up to the midsection here. You'll see these green buttons that are toggled. Automatically fight for other cities and accept reinforcements. I always have accept reinforcements on. I do not want to lose a subcity to anyone on my server. I worked hard for these, or I used my reward boxes for specific historical city search event to get these subcities. I don't want to lose them, because if I lose them, now I'm less powerful by not having a good debuff gen in this or cultivating resources for me. So I recommend always having that on. That way, if anyone attacks you, you're using all your main city troops to protect this subcity and all the rest. The first selection there, automatically fight for other cities. That's going to depend on your gameplay and maybe the time of week. Normally, I use the more global setting for my subs on this selection during the battlefield, BOC and BOG, Constantinople and Gaugamel. I will turn that off because I don't want my subcities to fight in that event. And the reason why is because at the end of the 2-hour event or battlefield, when you're done and you log out of your account, restart it once or twice, Evony is going to automatically give you all those troops back. You don't have to spend any resources on healing them or reviving them. They're going to give it back. Subcities are different, though. You don't want to have these linked, because any marches or troops you have in these subcities that die or get hurt, Evony does not cover that cost. You will have to rebuild those troops. So I recommend always turning that off if you're going to go into one of the battlefield events. Okay, now we're going to move down. We already covered the mayor, and we're going to go right next door to that green policy button. You have 3 selections here: balanced, war-oriented, and economy-oriented. Again, this is all going to be based off your game style and your gameplay. If you're more of a farmer and you want to gain resources or research stones, things of that, gold, then you're going to want to choose the bottom one, economy oriented. And that's going to get you the most resources over the course of time. and have your sub-city focus on that. If you're a fighter like I am, then most of mine that are war-oriented, my subs, Russia, Japan, I'll use it to increase the troop training because I want more troops as fast as I can. If you kind of want a nice little mix and a balance, then choose the first one. That'll give you a little bit of both, and it's really not a hard decision. You know that you're producing resources and you're producing troops a little bit quicker, just not as fast than if you were to choose one specific one. So we will complete that. And then down at the bottom, this will give you what this specific sub-city will increase. Okay, your buffs and things of that nature. The last thing on this page is you'll see over time, if you're a newer player, you maybe you're maxed out, or maybe you don't have all the right subs that you want yet, or you want to do a general experience exercise, which I've covered in another video, how to increase your general experience to level them up faster on a sub-city. Maybe you want to temporarily abandon the city or permanently abandon the city. You're going to hit this bottom button here, and I'm not going to do that, but you're going to hit that bottom button and let it go, and then move on to whatever your goals are from there. Buildings. So buildings are important. You have to continue building the buildings in the subordinate city in order to increase its level. This one here is working on level 26. As you see below, or excuse me, up at top here, 2 buildings are going to take roughly 40 some days to basically be done building those, and then it'll pull 2 more up here that will start building. You can see this top one here, level 26, but I have all of these below that still need to be built. It's going to take some time. This is a higher level sub, high buildings, so it'll take some time, and I can choose to speed that up if I wish, use speed ups, which I won't right now. It's not important to me. And then the last one here is troops. Again, when you get to the next level on all the buildings, as soon as that first next level building is built, you'll have the option to instantly train at the bottom here. You can train all these troops instantly by paying gems, or you can just let the time tick away and let it build them automatically for you. It's a little bit slower to do that. If having more troops in your sub-city is important to you to have right away for Battlefield or SVS or whatever it may be, then if you have the gems, go ahead and click that bottom button. Okay. So I think we've about covered it. The last thing on this segment is going to be the main screen at the top. You see 2 checkboxes there. One is selected and one is not. This is a global setting for all of the sub-cities, a global setting that will affect all of them equally. If you don't want to use a global setting, you can go into a specific one and you have the same buttons available to individualize or get it down to the granular level to control what this sub does for you. For me, I typically use this global setting because, again, I'm getting up there in age and I can be forgetful. And if I go into Battlefield and I have this selected and I didn't, or I'm not selected, I'm in a subordinate city and I have one selected, then I could lose those troops. So I do everything globally from the sub side. And again, you just click the box. It's going to turn the green check mark on or off. Okay, I think that is going to do it for today. If you like this video and want to see more or want to check out my others, just hit subscribe there on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. If you have any comments that you'd like to send me, I'd love to answer them. If you find any mistakes in the material that I'm offering, please send those too. Call me out on it. I am the first to tell you I'm not an expert at this game. I'm just learning as I go. I've been playing for about 8 months, maybe 9 months now, and there's so many things that I forget or maybe misread that I try to police my own information, but I do make mistakes. So call me out on it. And until next time, live life first and play Evony second, and I'll see you on the battlefield.